Hello, lighting people. NEMRA, the longstanding organization dedicated to advancing and supporting independent manufacturers' representatives in the electrical sector, has just made a big move by absorbing AAILA, a newer group with a similar mission in the lighting sector. Together, they have formed the brand new NEMRA Lighting Division. So, joining us today to discuss this exciting new venture are three of the key stakeholders. Jim Johnson, President and CEO of NEMRA, Billy Hodges, one of the co-founders of AAILA, and Jeff Bristol, Vice President of the newly formed NEMRA Lighting Division. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today for 5 big questions. Jim, let's start with you. How does the absorption of AAILA into NEMRA align with the greater goals of your organization?
Well, good morning, Al. Thank you for having us on your show, and good morning to you, Billy, and to Jeff. Al, integrating AAILA into NEMRA aligns perfectly with the broader vision of reinforcing our commitment at NEMRA to being the premier resource, platform, and advocate for manufacturer representatives and agents across connected industries. It actually embodies our commitment to growth, collaboration, and excellence, ensuring that NEMRA continues to meet the evolving needs of its members while solidifying its role as a leading advocate for manufacturer representatives and agents in the industry.
It's a great organization. It's been around a long time. And Billy, your organization was co-founded with you and another lighting agent out of Atlanta, Jay Andrews. You guys had a vision 3 years ago, starting this up from scratch. Was this path being absorbed by NEMRA? Was this one of the goals or potential outcomes of the AAILA organization, Billy?
Sure was. We had considered a lot of different paths for this, growing it, organically, completely for years, but also looking at synergies with the industry. And this was one of the paths that was considered fairly early on with Jay and my musings.
No, that's great. I remember Billy being kind of tuned into what you guys were doing behind the scenes. And I remember one of the quick ways you described it was NEMRA, but for lighting agents. And here we are now being tucked into the great mission. So congrats on this outcome as far as steering this towards kind of all under one roof, with the manufacturer's representative, lighting and electrical, being steered now by one larger organization. And Jeff, you're a longtime lighting guy, worked for a number of well-known manufacturers focusing on the electrical supply channel, as well as specification and OEM. So you're very well known in the industry. You've been a fixture at these NEMRA meetings for years. So first, congratulations on your new role. But rather than talk about your exciting new role, let's just go right into it, Jeff. One of the themes that has been part of the electrical supply channel with respect to representatives has been expanding boundaries. And we're really seeing that rapidly occurring in recent years in the lighting sector. So one aspect of conversation that's happening a lot now and among lighting agents is it still possible for a lighting agent to stay local, stay focused on their regional local market without expanding boundaries next door into multiple states and multiple time zones even? What's your take on this expansion? Can the little guys still survive and thrive, or do they need to scale up like these big boys?
Well, first, thank you for the congratulatory words. And as it relates to that question, which is an excellent question, and I think one that many people are asking, what I will tell you is, looking out, there are many of the AAILA members that were part of NEMRA. There are many NEMRA agents that were part of AAILA. And when we look at NEMRA Lighting, our mission is to be an inclusive association that empowers all agencies, whether they're large agencies or they're small agencies or they're mega agencies. And we'll do that through many of the things that Jim had talked about. But to specifically address your question, what I would tell you is expansion can actually create opportunity, and in a variety of ways. So, we see agencies being absorbed into some of these larger agencies, and the benefits there are the ability to focus on driving the sales as opposed to managing the back end of the business of that agency. They almost act autonomously within the broader scale. There is continuity needs or wants that these larger agencies have. That actually creates opportunities, line card opportunities, for small and mid-sized agencies to add lines and grow their business. And I think maybe most importantly, there's opportunities for new agencies to develop and come into the marketplace and pick up lines where representation needs are available. And from a NEMRA lighting perspective, regardless of size, regardless of new or existing, we will be there with our tools, with the networking opportunities and the development opportunities with our business conference planning to help them grow their business and remain relevant and strong within their markets.
That sounds great. And I know one thing that I always see happening at the NEMRA events when I've attended in the past is just you invite hundreds of people to an event, and there's literally limitless opportunities for not just networking, but truly sharing best practices. That happens at NEMRA on the electrical sector. Now you'll get some of these lighting agents sharing best practices among non-competing agents in other territories. It's really a great story, and the way you articulated it, Jeff, really hits home, I'm sure, with both the agency side and the manufacturing side. Speaking of manufacturing, Jim Johnson, the M in your organization, NEMRA, stands for manufacturers. And now when you have a lot of manufacturers, a long list of controls and lighting manufacturers that have long been part of NEMRA, focusing on the electrical sector, you now have them obviously being a good fit for this lighting division. Is this going to create kind of just, kind of more work and a duplicity of things, or will this make things more efficient somehow? What's your vision on how this impact will occur at the manufacturer level?
Al, we talk to our stakeholders very regularly and consistently. And when we talk about this integration, we talked about the result of the integration. And it was agreed upon by everyone that it would design and create efficiencies rather than strain resources. They all acknowledge the electrical and lighting manufacturers, representatives, and agents are often operating in overlapping markets. And this integration will create opportunities for all of them for cross collaboration, which will drive innovation and efficiencies that benefit both the manufacturers and the representatives and agents. And the discussion point with everybody was that the independent lighting industry, just like the electrical industry, is facing challenges, including the need for better support, better advocacy, education, and industry networking. So the lack of a comprehensive body that integrated lighting-specific expertise within a larger infrastructure such as NEMRA created a gap that this division, the lighting division that Jeff will be running, will fill. And by combining forces with NEMRA, the NEMRA Lighting Division will fill that gap and provide stronger representation and resources to lighting agencies. And most importantly, will build upon the initial initiatives of AAILA and bring them to a larger scale and more opportunities to those members as well.
Hearing your vision for that, it really hits home as far as the efficiency opportunities. I recall as a manufacturer going to NEMRA meetings, and although I dreaded the 17 pages of to-do items I had after those meetings, it was a great way to have not just a quick handshake in the halls of a major trade show. It was a great way to really dig into the issues and talk about a project or talk about the next year's strategies and goals with your manufacturers, and then have that rinse and repeat 10, 20, 50 times during a multi-day conference. So you folks know how to do that, and you have the playbook, and I'm sure you can apply it to that lighting sector. So Jeff, when you look at this new role you're in, I know you're still in your first 100 days, so I'm not going to press you on all your accomplishments yet, but when you look forward to, say, the next 5 years or so, what's your vision for this lighting division, the NEMRA Lighting Division? What should it look like, and what will it be bringing to the table?
My vision, and I'll say that I want it summed up in one word, and that is invaluable. Before I jump out 5 years, let me just jump out 18 months, because I think you just touched on this, and I think it's very important. As we look at May 2026, when we're planning our first summit, lighting summit, I want our manufacturers, I want our representatives, I want our exhibitors, I want our panelists walking away from that summit saying it was the single most important beneficial business conference that they had attended in lighting ever, because that's what the NEMRA conferences and the NEMRA Lighting Summit will do. They will be important business planning conferences with additional value-added services for our members, just like they've always been. And I think that that's a great point you touched on. Looking out 5 years, for me, I want NEMRA Lighting. If you're not a member, you don't pass go. So if you're a lighting representative, you're looking at a manufacturer, you need to be part of NEMRA Lighting. If you're a manufacturer, you're talking to a representative, maybe a small representative, get into NEMRA Lighting. We want to be the association that fosters and develops and strengthens the partnerships between the representative and the manufacturer, and drives that collaborative growth through the tools that NEMRA has had in place since, as you mentioned before, the 60s, and play upon that expertise to do the same in lighting. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
I love hearing that vision. And you already answered one of the questions, which is May 2026 will be the first lighting conference or summit coming together. So that's great. You have an 18-month runway to get the organization ramped up and culminate there at your first lighting event. So the electrical event will be separate. But Billy, when we talk about events, AAILA has also had a presence at many lighting industry events. We've seen you and Jay running education gatherings as well as ArcLight Summit gatherings. Billy, I've enjoyed your presentation, the adult beverages, the charcuterie. Enjoyed your presentation the most, but the prosciutto was a close second, Billy. Very good, very well catered. Will we continue to see the lighting division of NEMRA, Billy, at these lighting industry events?
That's absolutely the plan, is to maintain all of our presence at each of the events that we've participated in before, and to then culminate in the lighting division conference 18 months out. I think the idea of invaluable is a really important goal, and I think that everybody should be striving for that. As agents, as manufacturers, and as professional organizations facilitating for those manufacturers and agents. So that's an important piece of the puzzle, and we're going to take the big tent, which includes the smallest agents and the largest manufacturers, to each of these places and provide value that is invaluable at education, at ArcLight, at our lighting conference in May 26.
I'll see you at those events. I'll see you at your lighting conference in 26 if I'm invited. But I do look forward to being a part of this, guys, and watching this grow and culminate. I was excited when I saw this news hit weeks ago, hearing your vision and from all the different angles you come from. This looks like it's just going to be a home run, and that the early reaction of enthusiasm among the manufacturers and agents is well placed, because I think we are onto something great here, guys. So congratulations on all of this. Jim, thank you for joining us today for 5 big questions.
Yeah, appreciate it, Al. And we've got a great leader in Jeff leading it, and the support of Billy and Jay and the AAILA members as well. I think the collaboration is going to show a lot of growth in new programs and services that benefit both members. And all members will gain access to a broader network of industry professionals and stakeholders, which will create opportunities for strategic partnerships and business growth.
Awesome. And Jeff, congrats on your new role. And thank you for joining us for 5 big questions.
Al, thank you for having us. And listen, here is your formal invitation to the conference May 2026. So you are invited.
I accept. Thank you so much. Hotel included. Very generous of you. Thank you for that. And Billy, thank you for joining us for 5 big questions.
Thanks so much, Al. It's meant a lot having you as a sounding board, and being a part of encouraging our organization to get as far as it has. And, sorry we surprised you with the coming together of the 2 organizations, but here we are, AAILA and NEMRA, putting together the NEMRA Lighting Division for the good of all.
It's exciting news. It's good news for the industry, good news for all the stakeholders, including those customers in every territory, the distributors, contractors, specifiers, and so on. Thank you, everyone. Happy 2024, and onwards and upwards in 25.
Great. Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.